Hi, I'm Gina with Active Cities Magazine, and today we're going to be visiting with Neil Henderson, who is the manager of sports science at the Boulder Center for Sports Medicine. The Boulder Center for Sports Medicine offers a variety of specialties for the active-minded, but today we're going to focus on fitness testing. And Neil, there seems to be a bit of a mystique behind fitness testing. Most people think that you need to be at the elite level to benefit from a fitness test. Is this true?
Absolutely not. What we find is that 3/4 of the people that we see are not elite athletes. Maybe 10% of who walks in the door to the Boulder Center here for testing is in that upper echelon of competitive sports. Most people are going to be more fitness oriented. They want to improve. They may want to run a 10K, maybe their first marathon, something like that. And we can come in and help them to train better, smarter, to improve their fitness and not get hurt and have a great experience.
So if I was to come into the center and I came to you and I said, I really want to improve on my fitness level, or I'm interested in starting a fitness program, is there one test that you would recommend?
Absolutely. The lactate profile test is a relatively easy test. It takes approximately an hour and a half to 2 hours from walk in to walk out, with the test itself only running about 45 minutes. It involves progressively increasing what kind of work you're doing, whether it's a bicycle test or a treadmill test. We have you start at an easy level, and every 4 minutes increase your speed or effort, and we measure a couple responses like heart rate, blood lactate, and perceived effort. From that information, we can get specific training intensities for you, as well as get a pretty good prediction of what kind of pace you might be able to run a 10K or a half marathon or marathon.
So should I be afraid to ask, how much does a test like this cost?
No, I don't think that's a hard question. It's an easy answer. It's $100 for somebody to walk in and do this test, and also to have all the results interpreted with myself or another physiologist and coach. So,
okay, well that's
about the cost of a pair of running shoes, maybe.
A lot cheaper than I thought it would be. So today I'm going to be put through a fitness test. So let's go.
So when somebody comes in, first thing we do is ask a couple questions about what their training goals are, why they're here, etc., and then go ahead and start with the warm-up. With Gina right now, we're just walking, warming up, providing a nice transition for the body so we're actually ready to start the test. Each and every test we do is really an individual. We use certain protocols, but they're always going to be adapted based on the goals, the fitness level of the person being tested. So we don't kind of use a one-size-fits-all approach. Every single one test that we do is a one-off. So right now we're just warming up Gina at the right pace for her, and then we'll start the test and end up doing about 6 or 8 stages of those progressively faster and faster speeds, getting her working pretty hard at the end, but she's not going to go to a maximum. So it's going to be a pretty tolerable effort. First lactate measurement here is after the warm-up, and what we're doing is we're making sure that she is well warmed up. We're looking for the blood lactate concentration to be actually low enough to tell us that she's ready to continue on with the test. If the lactate levels are a little bit high still, we might have her continue to warm up just a little bit longer. So the lactate analyzer that we use here is going to be measuring how much lactate is in her blood, and it's a measurement of lactate in millimoles of lactate per liter of blood, so it's a very precise instrument here.
A word of caution for those who think they need to exercise in the morning before their test, which I almost did, thinking I was going to miss my workout. Don't do it. I read through the instructions, and you need to be rested.
So those are exactly the things that we would expect. When you start working harder, your breathing rate's going to go up. Perceived effort, everything is just going to feel different. Often it's a feeling of heaviness, not necessarily this intense burning or that kind of feel. Often it's more just this heaviness. Your arms, you start to feel them weighing down.
Did a good job. Very close, very close.
It really wasn't that bad. Just at the end, which is what I think you want to know. That's why we're here.
We're going to go ahead and put all this information together, and we're going to go over the results in just a couple minutes. So your job now is just to walk and relax.
So Neil, I have to say I'm pleasantly surprised with the test. It wasn't as scary as I thought it was going to be. Paul did listen to me, when I told him I was done. It's not like you're going to keep going and say, no, you need to do more. I learned a lot about warm-up You know, that I don't think, you know, in my 23 years of exercising that that I've been warming up enough.
Yep.
And that was evidenced by the test. So go ahead and show me.
We can see some numbers that'll support that, why you want to warm up maybe a little bit more. So first thing we're going to look at is really just this graph of numbers in terms of what happened. When you look at this graph, each vertical set of numbers goes along with one of the stages of the test. So we started you off warming up at 5 miles an hour, which is this middle row of numbers. And the number above that was pace in minutes per mile, so a 12-minute mile. After the initial part of the warm-up, your lactate levels were at 1.6 millimoles and your heart rate was 131 beats per minute. For warm-up, we like to see the lactate levels less than 1.5 millimoles at the start.
Okay.
So you were at 1.6, you were a little high, so we had you warm up a little longer. Look what happens. Another 5 minutes or so of warming up, your lactate level has dropped now to 1.24 millimoles. Your heart rate's the same, 131 beats per minute. Your perceived effort is the same, but the lactate levels drop. 10 minutes of warm-up wasn't quite enough. 15 minutes for you was a little better. So as you go forward in your training, those first 15 minutes for you are the best way to get you ready for a good workout rather than to go and start right into it. So once we got you through the warm-up, each progressive stage was 4 minutes long and going faster. Your treadmill speed, again, is this middle row, so we increased by 0.4 miles per hour every 4 minutes. The pace, again, is the number above, and then your perceived effort is the very bottom number. So through here, your heart rate in blue is coming up. Lactate levels are pretty stable, the first 1, 2, 3, then we start to see a little change here. At a 9:41 pace, your lactate levels kind of jumped a little bit out of the trend of these first 3. What happened there is your body started to get energy not just from the aerobic breakdown of carbohydrates and fats, but the anaerobic system is beginning to contribute more, which results in lactic acid being produced in the muscle, which breaks down a little further to lactate, which enters the bloodstream, and then an acid ion, which gets buffered.
And when you look at this too, it looks like when you asked me how I felt, there was a giant jump from, was this 4.5 to 8, and that coincided with the lactate levels going up.
Even higher, absolutely. Then we saw a huge jump for you up here at an 8:34 pace. So you were sensing that something was going on. Your body was becoming more taxed, and really the spillover of lactate occurred right up here. And that's what we look for in these kind of tests. This point where we see usually about a 1 millimole jump from one stage to the next is the point we call the threshold, the lactate threshold when we measure lactate. So what that is a pace that you could sustain often for about an hour for a trained athlete.
The perceived effort is probably the most difficult if you have just started a fitness program, because you really don't know. You know, is this too hard? Is this too easy? It's just a matter of getting comfortable with your body. That's why it's probably really important to have a heart rate monitor.
Exactly. That's a tool that is going to tell you really whether you're doing the right thing or not. As you get better and more experience, this perceived effort is going to be a tool that you're going to be able to rely on more.
So I had this test today. Do you recommend that I come back and do this again, like in 6 months?
Several months, anywhere from 3 to 6 months is a great time to reevaluate where you're at, because what we want to see would be a shift like this, that your lactate levels are a little lower for longer, and the point where that big jump occurs is over here at a faster pace, maybe at an 8:15 pace or an 8:20 pace, something like that, where the big jump occurs.
Ideally, somebody should have this test done at the very beginning of the season.
Absolutely.
It shouldn't be mid-season, or it should be beginning of the season, and then sometime, you know, later on, once you want to see some improvement after you've done some training and.
Yep.
Okay.
That's important. A lot of people say they want to wait to be tested until they're at their fittest. Well, guess what? This information will help you get to your fittest faster and easier than if you don't. So I'd rather see you when you're not at your best, because we can help you get to that point better.
Great. Well, thanks so much, Neil. This was so interesting. I'll hang on to it, and I'll be back.
Great. Good luck.
Well, I did it. I did the fitness test, and the mystique is gone. In fact, I learned today that you do not need to be an elite athlete to take a fitness test. The people that would benefit the most are beginners or people that have been exercising for a while and just want to figure out how to improve their fitness level. So remember, you're never too young or too old to start an active lifestyle. Getting fit can change your life, so let's get moving.